Could we be seeing an ace on the move? Could we be seeing one of his teammates signing elsewhere? Could a Yankee be joining the Red Sox rather soon? And speaking of the Red Sox, were they in talks for a blockbuster trade for a certain third baseman? Let's not waste any time. Let's get to the news.
Wake up the Don Bambino and have me face him. Maybe I'll drill him in the ass.
And what is going on, baseball fans? How are we doing tonight? We got some news to talk about tonight. I'm seeing a good crowd in here to start things off. 46 people. What is going on, baseball fans? How are we doing? Am I seeing Josh Hader in the chat? Josh Hader, my friend, you might have a new team eventually, my friend. What is going on, everyone? Wow, we're up to 52 people, all ready to start the show. That's what I like to see. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Hope you all had a great Monday. I had a wonderful Monday. I'm a teacher full-time, and I'm not at work this week because I get the week off for Thanksgiving. I'm just saying, it's quite the perk. I have to say, it was nice sleeping in today. And I got to work on a video today all day. That was quite nice. That video will be up tomorrow. It will be a premiere. I'm not quite sure what time, probably maybe around like 4 or 5 o'clock or so. But we're off to a good start tonight. Again, I hope everyone's doing great. I got my coffee. Yes, I know it's 8:40 at night. I'll probably be up all night, but hey, what can you do? Before we get started, if you can you hit that thumbs up for me? It's going to help the stream get out to more baseball fans. If you are just joining us, you have no idea what the heck is going on here. We're talking baseball all the time here. So, yeah, I'll be here this off season. I'll be here next season. I'll be here forever. So, yeah, definitely come here if you are looking for some more baseball news. So, let's kind of see any familiar faces in the chat. Again, I saw Josh Hader. What an honor to have Josh Hader in the chat. What can I say? I'm seeing Toby Raleigh fan here. Chester the Chicken Eater is here. What is going on? How are we doing? George Sarmiento, did I say that right? Amazing baseball plays. What's going on? Jackson is here. What's going on, my friend? Thank you. The moderator is here. What is going on? How are we doing? I'm seeing Khalil Campos. Alrighty. Well, we might as well get started. We got some news to get into, so let's not waste any time. The big story of the day, maybe Blake Snell being on the move. That, to me, to be honest with you, is crazy. The fact that Blake Snell could be in trade rumors ever since the World Series, this guy just can't catch a break. I mean, maybe he will not mind getting out of Tampa Bay. I'm just saying. Now, this is interesting to talk about because you have to remember Blake Snell, he is a former Cy Young winner. This isn't just any pitcher we're talking about. This is Blake Snell, and he was just pitching in the World Series. He's one of the better pitchers in the league. He had a pretty good season this past year. So let's kind of just get into the report. So here we go. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Alrighty. So, as always, MLB Trade Rumors, a fantastic website. If you need any baseball news, on your free time, go to MLBTradeRumors.com. This is where I tend to look for most of my news. They do a great job over here. So, but here's the headline. Rays reportedly open to Blake Snell trade. So, Mark Feinsand of MLB.com reported this. So he makes a keynote here. He makes a keynote is that they're not actively looking to trade him. So that's the big thing here. They're not actively looking to trade him, but they are open to the idea of it. And for good reason. There's a lot of reasons to where teams would be interested in a Blake Snell. If we go pull up his contract real quick, Blake Snell has quite the contract. If we go take a look here, I mean, goodness gracious, he is signed through the 2023 season. I mean, look at his salary for this upcoming year, $10.5 million. Oh, we got someone subscribing. We're off to a hot start. Dodger fan 16 has just subscribed. Thank you, my friend. Cheers to you. Welcome to the channel. But what a contract this is. I mean, are you kidding me? $10.5 million? That's a bargain. I think, did Rick Porcello even make this last year? Or did he make more than this last year? I think. I can't remember his contract exactly, but Blake Snell is one of the better pitchers in the league, one of the better left-handers. I mean, goodness gracious, $10.5 million this coming year. 2022, $12.5 million. And then 2023, $16 million. $16 million is nothing. I mean, oh, we got someone else subscribing. What is going on? Garrett Heller, what is going on, my friend? Cheers to you. Welcome to the channel. But there is very good reason for why teams would be interested in trading for a Blake Snell. And I almost find it crazy that the Rays would be even interested in being open to some ideas. I find this crazy. Now, there is one Yankee fan I follow on Twitter. He is fantastic. His name, I believe, is it Nick? But on Twitter, his name's Stanzo. He made probably the perfect tweet. The Rays potentially trading a 27-year-old Cy Young winner in the middle of a team-friendly deal would be the equivalent of a team pulling a starting pitcher who's allowed just 2 base runners and struck out 9 with 73 pitches in the 6th inning. I can't remember what pitcher that was. Does anyone remember? Anyone have an idea of who that could have been? Oh, it was Blake Snell. What in the, like, I'm just saying, I don't know. This to me is crazy that the Rays are even thinking about looking into trades with Blake Snell. I just don't understand it, to be honest. I mean, to me, you got a guy that's under a very friendly contract. I don't know. I don't know what the Rays are. I mean, you know the Rays. Oh, we got someone else subscribing. So while I'm here, I'm going to look up Luis Ernesto Rodriguez. Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you for joining the channel. But hey, whatever, if the Rays are looking into it, let's take a look at some teams that could use some starting pitching. I mean, why not? Let's have some fun here. Let's imagine Blake Snell on some other teams here. So, well, first off, my Red Sox probably had the worst starting pitching last year. We know he's not going to the Red Sox. The Rays aren't going to do that. But if you took a look at some other teams, I don't know. You got to think here. What would the Rays want? The Rays, well, first off, I know they need a catcher. I don't know if there's any teams that would want to maybe throw a catcher at them or something, but the Rays are loaded with prospects, so you would have to imagine they're probably going to be looking for some more major league ready kind of guys. You know, kind of, I could see this trade, if this trade were to happen, kind of similar to a Tommy Pham trade of last year, where they got some major league ready players to kind of fill in some holes. Where I could see the Rays maybe wanting some offense. They just let Hunter Renfroe go, so maybe they're looking for some power. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what teams, I mean, could maybe even have the resources for it. I haven't really looked too much into it. I don't know. I honestly couldn't even think right now at the top of my head who could maybe even make a kind of a trade for a Blake Snell. I don't know. I'd have to look more into this. I don't know, but I would imagine the Rays would maybe want some offense. That's kind of what they need. They're pretty good when it comes to pitching, and they got a lot of good pitching prospects. I don't know. You know, there are some trades out there. Again, I just haven't fully looked into it too much. But the fact, I mean, you could look at some teams here that could use some pitching. I mean, again, the Red Sox probably not. Maybe the Tigers would want to take a bite. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, the Nationals, I think they already have enough pitching. The Angels are a clear candidate. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you could do like a Blake Snell for like a Oh man, I don't know, Joe Adell be out of the question? I think that would be a little out of the question, wouldn't it? You would need more than Blake Snell, I think, to get a Joe Adell, but maybe a Brandon Marsh. I don't know. That could be really interesting. Brandon Marsh is pretty close to Major League ready. Again, I don't know if you're gonna get. I don't know if you're gonna be able to get a Joe Adell. Could you imagine Joe Adell with the Rays? That would be nasty. If you were to go to the Nationals, I'm trying to think. I don't know, maybe a Carter Kieboom. But again, he is kind of just coming up. He just came up this past year. I don't know. He didn't really show much in his rookie season, but maybe the Rays, maybe they like something with him. I don't know. Maybe someone like the White Sox would be interested. I don't know. I don't know if they'd want to trade him away to an American League team. Maybe they'd want to have him go to the National League so they wouldn't have to run into him in the playoffs. I mean, the White Sox, I don't know, it could be interesting. Let's take a look at maybe some players that maybe the White Sox could maybe give. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't really even think of, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look into this a little deeper. Maybe the White Sox would be interested. Again, I could maybe see a team like the Angels. I could maybe see the Nationals. I don't know. There's a lot of different things here that could maybe happen. Oh, we got someone else subscribing. What is going on? How are we doing? Who is that subscribing? Weifu Breaks has just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing, my friend. Thank you. Is it Carter Kieboom or Kieboom? I swear, I hear different ways of it being said all the time. Is it Kieboom or Kieboom? I don't know. I'm going off of what I hear. So I thought I was saying it right at one point, and whatever. I'm horrible at pronouncing names, everyone. What can I say? But yeah, I don't know. This is going to be pretty interesting. I wonder if this will actually gain traction. But you know, the Rays, they're always open to making some deals. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Whoa, Fuzzy is here. Fuzzy has come back. What is going on, my friend? So it's Kieboom. I could have sworn I heard Kieboom somewhere. I don't know. Whatever. But thank you. I appreciate that, everyone. But Fuzzy is here, my friend. What is going on? How are you doing? Someone just subscribed. I didn't catch that, but thank you for subscribing. That's a cheers to you, my friend. But yeah, so this is going to be really interesting. I would imagine the Rays would maybe want some offense, especially with Hunter Renfroe being waived. Hunter Renfroe kind of disappointed for the Rays this year. Didn't bring as much power as they thought. If we look at the Rays in this past postseason, for the whole postseason, they had an OPS under 700. That's not going to get it done in the postseason. As you can see, we got someone else subscribing. Wow, we're having a subscriber party going on right now. What is going on? Leland Worley, cheers to you, my friend. Welcome. But yeah, they had under a 700 OPS this past postseason. That's not going to get it done. As you saw with the Rays, it was pretty much the Randy Arozarena show. It was basically, it was a solo home run showcase for the Rays this past postseason. That's kind of what their offense was. Lots of solo home runs. It felt like they couldn't really string a lot of offense together. And I don't know. So that's what I would think. I would imagine a Blake Snell, if you're going to trade him, you maybe want some offense back. Maybe someone for right field to plug in for Hunter Renfroe. But that's just my opinion. But what do you all think in the chat? Campoy Rodriguez Manuel has just subscribed. Cheers to you, my friend. Welcome. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think the Rays should trade Blake Snell. Give me a thumbs down if you don't think they should trade Blake Snell. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, that sounds crazy, but I mean, if it can, I don't know, if it can maybe help their team, maybe get some offense, I think that could be maybe a pretty good move. I mean, look at what they did for, they traded away Tommy Pham. I thought that was crazy that they traded away Tommy Pham. I love Tommy Pham. But when they got, and when I saw that they were getting Manuel Margot back, I thought, like, what in the world? Like, I felt like they weren't getting enough back. But Manuel Margot ended up being a key player for them in the postseason, brought some great defense, and he brought some power into the postseason. But I think the Rays offense, they need something else. It just felt like, again, they were relying so much on solo home runs in the postseason. Yeah, so that's just my opinion. I think it's crazy right now to think, but I think if the right offer comes along, I don't know. I don't really know what that right offer is. I'm just still processing all of it, but I don't know. This is kind of just my reaction right now. I would think right now you probably hang on to a Blake Snell. But again, how are they going to be in free agency? Are they going to be able to spend money? Maybe Blake Snell is really the only thing that can bring back some players. The Rays, they're not really going to have much money when it comes to free agency. So, but that is what I have on Blake Snell. Let's move on to the next topic, and that's his teammate, Charlie Morton. The Braves looking like they have some interest, and there's no surprise here for me. No surprise here for me. Charlie Morton in a Braves uniform sounds like it makes a lot of sense. If you go back to also what Charlie Morton has said, he has said, I don't remember who he told this to, but I believe he is quoted. I don't remember who he said it to, but he said he has wanted to stay in Florida for the rest of his career. If he were to leave Florida, I mean, Atlanta is not very far away. And the Braves, they need some pitching, at least in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I understand they got Mike Soroka coming back. They had a good year from Max Fried. Ian Anderson had a good year this past year. They just brought in Drew Smyly. But at the end of the day, you have to kind of be realistic with the Braves pitching. Mike Soroka, the guy can pitch. He's going to do well for the Braves. However, the guy's Achilles tendon just popped off. You have to remember that. That's a pretty serious injury. That's something that takes a lot of time to come back from. But according to reports, it looks like he is going to be ready to go. But you got to be careful with an Achilles tendon, man. That is something you don't want to play around with. So to me, I think if you're the Braves, I think bringing in someone on like a 1 or 2 year deal could be very beneficial. And I think Charlie Morton could be a pretty good pitcher to bring in, someone that has postseason experience, someone that not only just has postseason experience, but someone that has big game experience. All these Game 7s that Charlie Morton's pitched, the Braves were 1 win away from the World Series. And if they had someone like a Charlie Morton, maybe they could have gotten the job done. I don't know. But I just think, honestly, Blake Snell, my mind's on Blake Snell. Charlie Morton, he makes a lot of sense for the Braves. And I think if you're the Braves, he kind of fits into probably, if you look at kind of what the Braves like to spend, they always seem to be spending somewhere between like 10 and 15, 16, 18 million. They never seem to give out these huge contracts. But I think Charlie Morton, maybe on like a 2-year, like $34 million deal or something like that. That sounds like a Braves kind of a contract. I think it's a good fit for both sides. He's not getting too far away from Florida. The Braves, they're bringing in another pitcher. He did have some shoulder issues this past season, but as we saw in the playoffs, he seemed to be fine. So I think the Braves, I think it would behoove them to bring in more pitching. I don't think you can go into next season with what you have. I personally think, honestly, this might be a bit of a hot take, but if I were to pick between bringing back a Marcell Ozuna and a pitcher, some of you will probably disagree with this one, but I maybe would lean more towards pitching. I love what Marcell Ozuna did for that lineup, but honestly, I think the Braves need more pitching. Again, I don't know what you guys think about that, but if they were to pick one, I would imagine, to me, pitching. If they do get the DH back, then hey, maybe bring back Ozuna. But I don't know. I think what the Braves need is pitching. And it also depends how much money are they going to have this offseason. I don't know. Especially with all this COVID stuff going on. I don't know what teams are going to have money-wise. I don't know. But I think Charlie Morton personally could be a good fit. Let me actually pull up the article real quick. I'll give some credit here to MLB Trade Rumors and Mark Bowen of MLB.com. Let me share the screen. I wish I could be the person that was reporting this kind of a story, but I am just a face in front of a camera, and I don't have those kind of inside sources. But again, Mark Bowman of MLB.com was reporting this, and MLB Trade Rumors is posting about it. Again, go to MLBTradeRumors.com. Fantastic website. They do great work over there. But yeah, they already brought in Drew Smyly on a pretty friendly contract. He had a pretty good season last year. But again, I personally, I don't think that's enough. I think you need to bring in someone else. Especially Mike Soroka to me is a big question mark. I don't think you can go into next season with Mike Soroka when his Achilles tendon just ripped in half. I'm just saying. I mean, you can't. I mean, as good as Mike Soroka is, Alexander Caton, how do you pronounce that? Whatever it is. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Cheers to you. So yeah, that's that's what I think. I think the Braves need to bring in more pitching. And Charlie Morton had himself a pretty good year. If I were to actually pull up the stats real quick. Charlie Morton stats. Here we go. He had a very good year in 2019. Again, he was kind of dealing with some shoulder issues this past year. Some inflammation in that shoulder. So weren't the most pretty stats this past year. However, while the ERA doesn't look all that great, 4.74 ERA, if we go take a look at the FIP, a 3.45 FIP, that suggests he pitched a lot better this year than the 4.74 ERA suggests. Again, the strikeouts per nine were still really solid, 9.9 strikeouts per nine, so 10 strikeouts per nine. I mean, honestly, if you kind of look, I mean, he's not very far off from what he was. I mean, he definitely digressed a little bit from his 2019 season. But again, he was dealing with inflammation in the shoulder. He pitched well in the postseason. So, actually, let me pull up those postseason stats. Where's his final stat line for the postseason? Postseason pitching. We're going to take a look. Can I just look at one full thing? No, I can't. But again, he did really well in the ALCS. I mean, he didn't give up one run in about 11 innings of work. He got 2 wins. He didn't really fare all that well in the World Series, but he had a good start against the Yankees. Again, Morton, he brought it when it mattered most in this postseason. And I think with the Braves, I mean, again, they were 1 win away from the World Series. They are ready to take that next step. And I think Charlie Morton could be a pretty underrated signing for a Braves team that's really trying to contend. So, not just contend, but win a World Series. We saw how good that Braves team was. And if they can just bring in a little bit more pitching, they need more depth. So, what do you think, everyone? Before I move on to the next topic, what do you think about Charlie Morton possibly signing with the Atlanta Braves? What do you think? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you think that would be a good move. Give me a thumbs down. What in the world am I looking right now at Giraffe Neck Mark himself? Is that really Giraffe Neck Mark? No, it's not. Stop it. You're telling me in one night we have had Fuzzy come in here and Giraffe Neck Mark? You have got to be kidding me. 2 baseball YouTube legends here in the chat tonight. Mark, thank you for stopping by. Fuzzy, if you're still here, thank you for stopping by as well. But also, everyone, we're up to 150 people in the chat. That is, I believe, a record for these news-style live streams. So, appreciate everyone coming in tonight. Great turnout for tonight. Awesome. So, but yeah, I'm seeing some thumbs up for Charlie Morton. I'm seeing some thumbs down. But alrighty. So, let's move on to the next topic. Here we go. This one, now I can actually break out my fanism here. I can kind of react on a personal level to this one. J.A. Happ drawing interest from the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, to me, I'm not surprised that he was a former Blue Jay, but the Red Sox, I didn't really think the Red Sox would be looking too much at J.A. Happ, but, my best friend, he's a big Yankee fan. He kind of pointed out something to me. J.A. Happ has pitched pretty well against the Red Sox, pitched fairly well against the Red Sox. So it's kind of one of those moves. Maybe if you can't beat, if you cannot beat a J.A. Happ, maybe you can just bring him into your own side. J.A. Happ would be a very interesting pickup for me as a Red Sox fan. To me, honestly, I'll be real. I'll be very real. J.A. Happ, to me, is such a boring signing. I mean, that's just, as a fan, I'm thinking, J.A. Happ, really? I want John Lester. I want that storybook ending to John Lester's career. But J.A. Happ, stat-wise, it would not be the worst move. If we were to go take a look here, let me give credit here to the article that was reporting it. Hold on. Here we go. Or actually, no, it was John Morosi. Let me share the screen here. So John Morosi was the first one to report it. I believe he was the first one. So it says here, Red Sox showing interest in J.A. Happ, and perhaps we should have seen this coming. Happ, 38, has thrown more innings pitched at Fenway than any ballpark he has not called home, and he has a 2.57 ERA in his career there. So to me, personally, I did not know. I've always known J.A. Happ to be kind of an annoying pitcher. I didn't realize he was this good at Fenway Park. I remember when he's pitched at Fenway Park, especially in his time with the Yankees, his time with the Blue Jays. I remember he was just kind of annoying. I don't fully remember the stats that he was pulling up, or the stat lines that he was putting up. But if we were going to take a look here, over the years, I mean, honestly, he's been pretty solid for the most part. I think where a lot of people get turned off is the 2019 season he had with the Yankees. I think that's where a lot of people started to kind of sour. He did really well with the Yankees when he came over in 2018 from Toronto. He had a 2.69 ERA. The FIP was a bit high, 4.21, but still, he got the job done with a pretty good ERA. He had a pretty good amount of strikeouts, about 8.9 strikeouts per 9. But the past couple of seasons, really kind of where he's been kind of solid is more of like a back end of the rotation kind of a guy. 2019, 160 innings pitched. If we go back to 2018, about 180 innings pitched. 2016, 195 innings pitched. He's going to give you a decent amount of starts every year. It looks like he doesn't go as deep into games as you would want him to. He's going to be kind of a guy that's going to give you around 5-6 innings a start. And again, I think with the Red Sox, with the Red Sox, as we all know, my Red Sox could not pitch last year at all. Our best pitcher was arguably Martin Perez. So we had no one last year. And then Tanner Houck towards the end of the season. But I think with next season, you get a Chris Sale back sometime in July, August. Eduardo Rodriguez should be back at the beginning of the season. Tanner Houck, who knows how he's going to go into his sophomore year. Nick Pivetta, he had a pretty good showing towards the end of the season with the Red Sox last year. Who knows how he's going to be. J.A. Happ, I guess it depends on what kind of a contract you're going to give him. I would imagine he's going to be wanting something like I would imagine he was going to get more than a Drew Smiley. I would think somewhere around maybe 14 to 15 million for J.A. Happ. I don't know. I think with J.A. Happ, I think that's not going to solve your problems. I think, sure, it could help a little bit. It'll give you some innings. To be honest, my personal reaction to this is the Red Sox are just kicking some tires. I don't think there's anything, I don't know. I just don't think there's really much to this. Sure, yeah, they'll show some interest. Of course, you're going to kick tires on everyone. Word is going to get out, and then people are going to, shout from the mountaintops like, oh my goodness, the Red Sox are going to sign J.A. Happ. But to me personally, I don't know. I don't think the Red Sox, this is the kind of guy the Red Sox really need. I don't know. To me, I'd rather bring in someone that can give you maybe some more innings. Again, I don't think this would be the worst move. I don't think it would be terrible. I don't know. It's just a little underwhelming to me. I'm not saying I want the Red Sox to go out and get a Trevor Bauer. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think there's just some better options out there. I think I'd rather the Red Sox, I don't know. I don't know what the Red Sox are going to really be doing this coming year. It really depends on how this offseason goes. I think the Red Sox could once again be like a fourth or fifth place team, or they could maybe be a bit of a surprising contender. Now, it really depends on what they do, but to me, it's like I'd rather maybe try and build up that farm system a little bit, and I'd rather maybe take a chance on a guy like Corey Kluber, maybe bring in a guy like John Lester. I'd rather spend 16, 17 million on a John Lester than bring in a J.A. Happ for 14 million. I'd rather see if John Lester, first off, I got that that place in my heart for John Lester. I'd much rather see him in a Red Sox uniform again. But I don't know. I feel like with John Lester, I think he's a guy. He's a workhorse. He's a guy he's gonna make all of his starts. I don't know. I don't know. But I'd rather the Red Sox maybe take a chance on a guy like a Corey Kluber. See if you can get lightning in a bottle with him. Take a chance on someone like that. I just think. That's just, I don't know. J.A. Happ, I think, is a bit of an underwhelming move. So tell me what you all think down in the chat. Do you think the Red Sox should pursue a J.A. Happ? And also with Toronto, before I actually move on to the next one, I left out Toronto. Toronto, I think, honestly, could maybe be a better fit, honestly. I don't know. I think with the Red Sox, I think they're in more of a position to kind of take chances on some things, like I said, like a guy like a Corey Kluber, where the Blue Jays, they're trying to get themselves back into contention, so maybe they can bring back a J.A. Happ, and he can give them some innings, which is what they really need. The Blue Jays are way closer to, I don't know, it's arguable. It depends on what the Red Sox do, but right now, the Blue Jays are, as of right now, a better team than the Red Sox, so maybe the Blue Jays would be better off with a guy like J.A. Happ. They definitely need some innings. So, yeah, I'm seeing a vomit face from Red Sox baseball. The Red Sox themselves are vomiting at the idea of J.A. Happ. So, again, before I move on, give me a thumbs up if you think the Red Sox should sign a J.A. Happ. Give me a thumbs down if you think the Red Sox should sign a J.A. Happ. I think for the Blue Jays, I think it would be a good move. I think it would be fine. I think they need pitching. But again, I don't know. David Knight, that is a good point. He has been to Toronto a couple times now. Is he going to want to go back to Toronto? I don't know. Toronto could use him. So Toronto could use him. I'm seeing some thumbs up. J.A. Happ. J.A. Happ. So again, Nathan, I agree. He has pitched very well in Fenway Park. So that is one bright side to that. So I wouldn't be against it by any means. A part of me would be a little bit underwhelmed. I think if you can get John Lester, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit biased just because I like John Lester. I'd love to see him end his career in a Red Sox uniform. That's a bit biased. But personally, I'd rather go after a guy like Corey Kluber. If you can get him for cheap, you can get lightning in a bottle with him. Who knows? That he could maybe help you get to the postseason. But here we go. Moving on to our next story of the night. We're staying on the pitching train here. We're moving on. Michael Wacha drawing some heavy interest, and I think we can all agree that this is no surprise. Michael Wacha, I don't know. Some of you might find this a bit surprising, and some of you might not find this surprising. To me personally, I'm not surprised because Michael Wacha is a guy that you're going to get for cheap. And a lot of teams, with all of the pandemic and whatnot, teams trying to save some money, Michael Wacha could end up being a guy that a team would be interested in because he's not going to cost a lot of money. He has a track record. However, if we go take a look at Michael Wacha, let me come back to you here. Michael Wacha did not have himself a very good year this year, but I will actually show you why. I was doing my reading earlier. Michael Wacha is interesting to some teams. So let me show you the stats first before I move on to the reason why some teams are interested in him, not just because he's cheap, but there is another reason why. But yeah, Michael Wacha this year, he was absolutely garbage. He was not good this year. He made 7 starts, a 6.62 ERA. He was 1-4. 37 strikeouts in 34 innings. Look at that whip. Absolutely garbage. Not very good. Even the FIP, when you go take a look, I always like this. If I ever look at the ERA and I see a high ERA, I jump right over to the FIP. And even the FIP's, not looking all that nice. So one thing that does stick out here, take a look here. 9.8 strikeouts per 9. That is actually not bad. If we took a look at Charlie Morton earlier, he had a right around the same. And we've all been praising Charlie Morton, for how long now? Michael Wacha, he did see an uptick in the strikeouts. As you've seen for the past couple of years, he was at about 7.5 strikeouts per 9, but he was able to figure out how to get a couple more strikeouts per 9, and that is actually a pretty good sign. The fact that, sure, he gave up some runs. Sure, he gave up a lot more hits. He walked guys. If we actually take a look, though, at the walks, the thing with Michael Wacha, this is where it's sticking out right here. He gave up more hits per 9, and he gave up more home runs per 9. However, if you go take a look, the walks per 9 were down. He was throwing more strikes, and he was striking out more guys. And I think that's why teams, at least when you're just looking at the stats, teams are interested in that. Teams are seeing that he is striking out more guys and he's walking less guys. Now, when you're walking a lot of guys, that's kind of a bad sign. That's just showing you're not really in control on the mound. A lot of your mechanics could be out of whack and so on, but he wasn't really walking that many guys. Sure, maybe he was just giving up more hits, but this year, I don't know. It makes me kind of wonder maybe, again, he hasn't really been all that great. Unless you go back a couple years ago, but it seemed like, I don't know, maybe it seemed like, yes, he was throwing more strikes. Maybe he was trying to work on some stuff this year, and it seems like maybe he figured out some stuff. You can't deny the strikeouts there. He's striking out about 2.5 more batters per 9, and he's walking 2 less batters per 9. So Wacha, and it was a short season. Who knows if Wacha, he ends up, keeps working on things, and maybe he ends up having a pretty decent stat line. He makes around 25, 30 starts, and who knows, maybe he ends up putting a better season together. But let me show you the reason why Michael Wacha is actually pretty interesting to some teams. Let me actually, hold on, where is it? Let's pull it up here. Michael Wacha, where are we at? Here we go. So Michael Wacha generating interest despite a down year. So let me actually see if I can find it. I believe, was it this one? Yes, so it was this. And you know what? Actually, let's go take a look at Baseball Savant. Maybe that can also show us something. All right, so if we go take a look here at this paragraph, it says here, many will look at a pitcher with a 5.15 ERA over his past 2 seasons and wonder why he'd generate interest. Although today's front offices place dwindling levels of stock in the game's conventional and more rudimentary means of evaluating performance, only notes that an uptick in velocity has contributed to the interest. The Athletic's Ken Rosenthal, who also suggests interest in Wacha is strong, writes that increased use of his cutter has piqued the interest of teams around the league. So he started using his cutter a lot more. He went from 15.5% in 2019 to 27.1% in 2020. And that could be a reason maybe why he was getting hit more. Maybe he's trying to get more of a feel for that pitch. Trying to work it into different counts and whatnot. Again, it sounded like, if I were to try and be a little more positive here, maybe Michael Wacha, it was a bit more of like a kind of figuring it out kind of a year, Again, he only had, how many starts was that? 8 starts this whole year? He didn't have a whole year to play with. So I don't know. I think some teams are trying to, and again, he's cheap. So that's why I think a lot of teams, they're kind of looking at a guy like Michael Wacha and be like, oh, well, we see these little things are getting better with him. Maybe the ERA didn't look all that much better, but we're seeing he's striking out more guys. We're seeing has a bit more velocity. We're seeing he's using that cutter a little bit more. The cutter is a great pitch in today's game. So I think a lot of teams, they're seeing these little things with him, but they're also seeing, hey, Michael Wacha, because of that high ERA, because of all these home runs he's giving up, he's going to be cheap. So, hey, maybe we can bring him in on the cheap and we can kind of help fine-tune him a little bit and he can get back to being the Michael Wacha that we remember. So let's actually go to Baseball Savant. Great website. If you ever need some advanced stats, head on over to Baseball Savant. It is great. I love Fangraphs. They have a lot of good stuff too. But Baseball Savant, that it kind of gives you a little more detail on things. As we can see here, lots of blue for Michael Wacha. That's not looking all that great. So what I am seeing is exit velocity. He's in the top half, the top 50%. That's something you would like to see at least. He's not I mean, it's kind of weird. He was giving up not the most exit velocity, but he was giving up a lot of hard hit balls. So I don't know. But if we were to go down again, his walk percentage was actually very good. So in this red here, that means he's up pretty high. So walking, not as many guys as we saw that with the walks per 9. But again, if we go back to that cutter, what Ken Rosenthal mentioned, 27% of the time he's throwing that cutter. He's throwing the fastball 42% of the time, changeup about 30% of the time. So, he's trying to work in that cutter. Let's keep investigating a little bit more. Alrighty, hold on. 2020, where are you? The worst year of all time, 2020. Here we go. So the cutter. So as we can see here, the cutter for this year, he was throwing it more, but however, it wasn't getting a lot of movement. If we take a look at the horizontal movement, not much. It's light blue right here, so that suggests he was pretty low. So maybe that's a pitch he is still trying to work on a little bit. If we take a look, four-seamer, he was getting a bit of upward movement on that four-seamer. So that's a slightly red. So again, this to me looks like, okay, he's throwing this cutter a ton. Did he throw a cutter in 2019? It's funny, the cutter in 2019, it had more vertical movement, so it was more kind of like a slider in a way. Whereas this past year it wasn't. It didn't really have any vertical movement. And so, but if we take a look at the cutter, again, so I don't know. I don't know if it's just like a pitch he's trying to play with. I'm not really sure. I don't know. But what I did see was he's throwing more strikes. He's walking less guys. So he's striking out a couple more guys. Again, I'm trying to paint a pretty picture here for Michael Wacha. I'm trying to, maybe I should be Michael Wacha's agent here. I don't know. But as we can all see, Michael Wacha's stats just weren't very good, but I can understand why a team would be interested in him. He's going to be cheap, especially when you got guys like Trevor Bauer out there who's going to be making, about $30 million a year. So Michael Wacha, you can probably get him for a couple million. So let me know what you think. I don't know. Do you think Michael Wacha is going to be who could end up having a pretty good season next year? I'm not really sure what teams would be interested in him. If we were to go take a look at Fangraphs, what are some teams that could maybe take a chance on a Michael Wacha, like a low risk, high reward kind of a thing? Let's take a look. Maybe what are some good candidates here for a guy like Michael Wacha? I don't want the Twins. What are we doing here? I want all teams looking at the starting pitching. Here we go. Alrighty. So starters. I don't know. Maybe the Red Sox maybe want to bring him in. I think that could maybe be a move. I don't know. A high reward, low risk kind of a move. He's probably not going to be a lot of money. I could see a team like the Tigers, not really spending a lot of money there. Diamondbacks, maybe. I don't know. I don't think the Braves will. I think the Braves are looking more for a guy like a Charlie Morton or maybe a Jake Odorizzi, like that kind of level, like a mid to high tier kind of a guy. I don't think they would look for a guy like Michael Wacha. Nationals, I don't know. You're going to have Max Scherzer back next year. You should have Strasburg back next year. Corbin should be back. I don't know. Maybe if you want to bring in Wacha. Again, I think it's going to come down to what's going to be a good fit for him. What's going to be a good coaching staff for him. I don't see the Angels. I think the Angels, they're looking for top tier pitching. I don't think he goes back to the Cardinals. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe the Rays? I don't know. Maybe. They seem to do well with pitchers. Maybe they could fix something with him. I don't know. Maybe the Giants. I don't know. Rockies. I don't know. He was giving up a lot of home runs. I don't think he would go well in Coors Field. I don't know. Maybe the A's. It could be cheap. The A's seem to, they like the advanced stuff, so maybe they could help something out. I don't know. I could see some teams that, teams that are like kind of near contention that could maybe contend. I don't know. Maybe the Twins. They were a team last year that brought in like Rich Hill. Who was the other guy they brought in? It was Rich Hill and Homer Bailey. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the Twins would be interested in giving Michael Wacha a try. Maybe a team like the Brewers, they had some great pitching last year. Maybe the Brewers maybe they see something with him. Maybe they can work something out with him. He is used to pitching in the NL Central. Maybe the Brewers would be a good fit. I don't know. The Reds, they got some good coaching when it comes to pitching. If they're going to lose Trevor Bauer, maybe they could bring in a Michael Wacha. Again, Michael Wacha, pitcher of the Cardinals for all those years, staying in the NL Central, maybe that could work out for him. So, I don't know. I think there's some teams that could benefit from a Michael Wacha. And kind of like what I've said with Corey Kluber, maybe with a Michael Wacha, you could get lightning in a bottle. Maybe he could end up giving you around 25 to 30 starts next year, and he can end up being pretty solid. So, that's just my thoughts. So, yeah, David Knight, I think the Tigers maybe could be. I mean, why not? So, I don't know. Kind of the more I think about it, I think maybe the Brewers could be fun for him. The Reds. I think the Reds could be interesting. Why not? They do pretty well when it comes to the analytics for pitching. So, that could be fun. So, alrighty, moving on. We're going to move on to our last story before we get out of here for tonight. So my last story, again, I'm getting back to my Red Sox here. This isn't anything currently ongoing. This is kind of a story that happened over the summer, but it could maybe suggest maybe something for this coming off season, and that was the Red Sox and the Cubs were talking about a Kris Bryant trade over the summer. Obviously, we all know Kris Bryant is still a Chicago Cub. He is still there. Nothing happened with this. But I find it very interesting that if this is true, that they were talking about this could be maybe a preview for this offseason. Maybe the Cubs really are trying to unload Kris Bryant. Maybe they are trying to get rid of him. Maybe they are trying to get something out of him. I don't know. But let me pull up the article. Hold on one second. Here we go. Where are we at? So here we go. So the Red Sox and Cubs discussed a trade over the summer. So yeah, this is interesting to me because Kris Bryant, if he had come to the Red Sox, he would not have played third base. The Red Sox already have Rafael Devers. Now, in my opinion, I think Rafael Devers is absolutely garbage at third base. I cannot stand Rafael Devers at third base. Do you know how many times I was watching a game this past season and Rafael Devers, a routine play, he messed up on a routine play? I'm so tired of people defending Rafael Devers and his defense. I'm over it. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. I don't know. I'm tired of people defending it. Whoa, we got a super chat coming in. What is going on? David Knight with a $5 super chat. He says, nice stream, sir. Keep it up. David Knight, much appreciated. I appreciate you being here tonight. But yeah, so again, Rafael Devers, to me, I don't think he's a great defensive third baseman. The stats show it. My eyes have seen it. I'm tired of it. I want Bobby Dahlbeck to be the third baseman for the Red Sox. I want Rafael Devers to be the DH. I would personally be okay with the Red Sox trading a JD Martinez, having Rafael Devers be the third baseman. You can kind of rotate in and out. You can have Bobby Dahlbeck be some DH some days. Rafael Devers can play some third some days. But I think but we're going to have to see. Alex Cora is back with the Red Sox this year. Alex Cora was very hard on Rafael Devers a couple of years ago. He expected a lot out of him. I'm sure Alex Cora was a very good defensive player. So I am expecting maybe Rafael Devers to kind of take a step forward this coming year. I think Alex Cora is going to demand a lot out of third base from Rafael Devers. But again, getting away from the point here, this isn't about Rafael Devers. This is about Kris Bryant. If they had brought Kris Bryant over, most likely he would have played left field. So in my opinion, I don't know. Andrew Benintendi wasn't having a good year. It makes me wonder. I wonder what players were being talked about with the Red Sox. Maybe Benintendi was in those trade talks. That could have been interesting. I don't know. I don't really know what the Red Sox could have given for Kris Bryant. I find it interesting. I don't know. Again, I think this is more of like a kicking the tires kind of a thing. So it says here, Mark Gonzalez of the Chicago Tribune was the one to report this. He said those talks fizzled, so it's unclear whether the two sides will revisit them this offseason. But I think this more shows that the Cubs are very interested in trading Kris Bryant. I think they're serious about it. I think if they can, they're going to. It's going to be hard because he had a down year in 2020. There's no denying that. The stats were terrible. He was dealing with some wrist problems, so I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. I'm telling you, when you get hurt as a hitter, I mean, what do I know? I wasn't anything playing baseball growing up, but as a hitter, when you get hurt with your wrist or shoulder or something like that, it not only messes with your swing, but when you're finally starting to feel better, like let's say you hurt your wrist and your wrist is finally starting to feel better, you got to get that timing back. Hitting is all about timing. It's all about your mechanics and your timing. And bat speed, obviously. There's a lot of things that go into hitting, but timing is a huge thing. And when you're coming off of an injury as a hitter, especially with something like a wrist or a shoulder, that's going to be very problematic. So it seems like to me, Kris Bryant was a guy that just never really got it going, even when he started to feel better. So he had a pretty good 2019 season. The advanced stats have kind of dwindled a little bit over the last couple of years, but overall 2019, he still put together a really solid year. I still think he's going to be a pretty solid player for the next few years. Now, the question is, are the Red Sox going to try and revisit these trades? I don't know. If the Red Sox brought over a Kris Bryant, I don't know. I mean, really, the only place that you could put him, now that Jackie Bradley Jr. it could be heading elsewhere, you could slide Benintendi over to center, and if you had Kris Bryant, you could put him in left. I don't know. That could be pretty interesting if you ask me. I don't know, but again, I think with a Kris Bryant, I think teams that you're going to see most likely pop up are teams like the Blue Jays, teams like the Nationals, maybe the Braves can get in on it. I don't know, maybe the Dodgers. I don't know if they don't bring back Turner. I don't know. I don't think you're going to see a Kris Bryant go to the Red Sox. I would be surprised if the Red Sox pulled off a trade. But I think if the Red Sox were to get him, now could be the time. I don't want the Red Sox really shipping off any prospects at the moment. I think the Red Sox need to be getting prospects. But I think with Kris Bryant, the value isn't as good as it would be in the past. Maybe you could pull something off. I don't know. I think if you are the Red Sox, now would be the time to maybe try and get a Kris Bryant. But if you're the Cubs, I think you have to be thinking, all right, realistically, what can we get for a Kris Bryant? You know what I mean? So, but I think the teams that would most likely be in on him are teams like the Blue Jays, especially the Blue Jays, a team that's trying to get into playoff contention consistently. Maybe the Nationals, they could use a third baseman after Anthony Rendon. They really felt it in that lineup this past year. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that could happen with Kris Bryant, but I think overall what this suggests is that the Cubs are serious about moving a Kris Bryant if the right trade comes along. We've all been hearing about this for a while now, but I think that this report came out. I think it really shows like, oh, wow, maybe they really are, going to kind of try and part ways. So what do you all think about this? Do you think this would have been a good move if Kris Bryant went to the Red Sox? Give me a thumbs up if you thought that, or if you think that would have been a good move, or if you think that could still be a good move, or give me a thumbs down if you think that's a bad move. BZ basketball. Is it not BZ baseball anymore? What is going on, my friend? How are we doing? Orioles. What is going on? To the Nationals. Orioles. Man, Bryant to the Nationals. The thing is with the Nationals, they don't really have like many prospects that are like ready at the moment. They got a few prospects that are pretty far away, but I don't know. Maybe a Carter Keyboom could be. Did I say that right this time? I think I said it right. I don't know, but again, would you give up a Carter Keyboom for a Kris Bryant? I don't know. I don't really think that would really be great. Judah Paul, what's going on? How we doing, my friend? Red Sox baseball, Quintana to the Red Sox? Sure. I mean, why not? I don't see a problem with that. Yeah, Kira Owens, you got to count on the farm system. Hey, the Rays got one of the best farm systems. So, hey, Judah Paul, appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. Danny, Arenado for a Kris Bryant. I don't think you would see a straight-up trade of those two. I think those two have to go elsewhere. So, but yeah, I don't know. Kris Bryant to the Red Sox, probably not going to happen. I could see it to other teams. But yeah, but everyone, that is all I have for tonight. What a turnout for tonight. I didn't think it was going to be this big of a turnout tonight. We got up to around 150 people tonight. And that, I think, is a record for these news-style shows. So that is a great thing to see. Very happy about that. Everyone, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. If you can, hit that thumbs up for me. Or, as always, if you don't like my face, you can hit that thumbs down as well. If you are just coming in here and you have yet to subscribe and you are looking for more baseball news, hey, think about hitting that subscribe button. We're talking baseball here all the time. Everyone, I will be back here tomorrow night, probably around the same time, 8:30. 8:30 seems to be my sweet spot of a time. So, everyone, I want to thank you again for coming in. Have a great night. Sleep tight. And I'll talk to you next time.